Yo, what is happening, guys? Nathan back once again with another episode of the Unplugged Freedom Podcast. And in today's episode, we are going to be talking about what to expect for 2022, especially if you are not juiced up. You don't got one juice, you don't got two juice, you don't got three juice. So what to expect in this year? This is crazy. So last year I said that 2021 was the year that mental illness was the new normal. And unfortunately, that is true. So that is 100% true. You take a look at these people, they are delusional, they believe lies, blatant lies as well, which is just crazy. And no matter amount of facts, logic, or common sense that you give to these people, they will never be able to allow themselves to see your view. So 2021 was just wild. 2022. Now, the thing is, 2022 is going to be absolutely nuts. It's going to be crazy because you have to think about where we are and where we are going to be going. So we are in the exact same place here in Canada. We're in the exact same place that we were this time last year. We got lockdowns. You're not allowed to go to bars. Gyms had just reopened. We're going to talk about that in a bit. But you couldn't go to family for Christmas. Like, there was all this stuff, right? So the thing is that we can be in the exact same place as we were last year, this year. But next year, we can't be in the exact same place. It just doesn't work that way. How you want to be able to manipulate people, you have to be strategic about it. So the only reason that we're in the same place that we were last year is because of what came out of South Africa. Without South Africa, we couldn't have been in the exact same place that we were this time last year. So we needed South Africa, okay? We needed that. That's the only reason. Remember, in a couple of podcasts ago, I was talking about cause and effect. You need cause and effect in order to be able to manipulate people. And so it's what happens all the time. And it's very blatant. You can see it everywhere. So the cause was South Africa. The thing came out of South Africa. And the effect was, let's put them back in the exact same place that they were last year. Now, this time next year, honestly, I can't even imagine where we would be. Because I think 2022 for the unjuiced people is going to be just this is going to be an absolute wicked year for us. And I don't mean that in necessarily a good way. This is going to be the year where we separate the men, the women, from the boys and the girls. This is going to be the year where the line in the sand is drawn and people say, okay, I've let you get away with enough, but now you're really overstepping my boundaries. And this is easily seen because in New Brunswick, they gave them the power to say, hey, if you don't want to allow people into your grocery store who are unjuiced, then you have that power. And that's what they did. In Germany, that's what they're doing in grocery stores. They're saying, unjuiced people not allowed here. In Quebec, they're putting out a tax for people who are unjuiced. They are talking about it, bringing it across the board federally in Canada. So back in 2020, what happened? We didn't have the juice, okay? We were waiting for the juice gods to bring us salvation. And so that's where we were in 2020. That's why we were locked down. That's why we were couldn't see family. That's why we couldn't go to Christmas. But you could go to the mall, of course. You can always go to the mall. You can always go to Costco. I remember I'd walk into a Costco and it's just fucking shoulder to shoulder, just packed, right? Line up around the building. And I'm just in there and I'm thinking you can't go see your family, but you can definitely come to Costco, that's for sure. You can go to the shopping mall. You can go to West Edmonton Mall. You can go to all these places. So 2020, we got the juice. We're waiting for the juice gods. 2021, we finally got the juice. So everybody's getting juiced. Okay, they're getting all juiced up. And they force, they bribe, they coerce people, they threaten people to get the juice, to get all three of them, all two of them, and then they bring in the thing that came from South Africa to get the third one. You couldn't have gotten people to get the third one without the thing from South Africa. We already talked about that. And so that's the cause and effect. So what's scary is that there's a fourth one coming. Okay, so there's a fourth juice box coming. Now, what's scary about that is, do you see what they've done to get people to get the third one? And I can't imagine what they are going to do in order for people to get the fourth one, because they needed something big in order to get people to finally get the third one. So everybody's getting their third one, and then it's going to calm down. And then here's another thing as well. If you've ever watched the Hunger Games, the capital, the government, Snow, I can't remember his Snow, Governor Snow or President Snow, he talks to this guy and he says, you know what's the strongest, the easiest way to move people? He says it's not fear, it's hope. Hope. If you give people hope, because the guy was asking, why don't we just take two people a year and just execute them? Why do we have to go through the Hunger Games? Why do we have to do all this? Like, why can't we just bring together all the names, draw two names, and then all of a sudden just execute those people? And so President Snow says the most driving factor in people is hope. And if you can give people hope, you can get them to do anything. So a few posts ago on my Instagram, if you're not on my Instagram, Unplugged Freedom, and a few posts ago, I talked about hopium. I made a post about hopium. Hopium is probably one of the most addictive, most dangerous drugs that are out there. And it happens on both sides. It happens on the delusional side, and then it happens on our side as well, the truth movement side. And I hate these people. Okay, they hate me, I hate them, because I have a lot of sense, I have a lot of logic, I bring a lot of facts to the table, and so the way that I see things and view things, I don't run off of hopium. I run off of facts, logic, and common sense. And if you want to step in the ring with me, you better make sure that you bring facts, logic, and common sense, because your hopium is not gonna work in this ring. So these people have this hope that a certain doctor is going to get arrested, a hope that a certain prime minister is going to get arrested, a hope that Mr. Ouchie there is going to get arrested. And it's a terrible drug. It's an absolutely terrible drug. It's just running rampant all across the globe, especially in the past few years, especially with the 17th letter, if you know what I mean. Those people are some of the biggest hopium junkies in this world today. So the reason I bring this up is because on the radio, what's happening is we've got the thing from South Africa, which is getting people to get their third one, their third juice, right? Now, everybody is getting their third one. They're like, okay, good, I got the third one. Okay, everything's cool. If you hear on the radio, I listen to the news because I want to try and figure out which direction are they pulling us. And this is easily done when you hear the headlines, when you see the headlines, and you can see what they're talking about. You can see which direction they're actually trying to bring us. So I'll give you an example. Back on the 5th of August, I had released a podcast, and I said it is almost time to be worried if you are unjuiced, just because of what I was hearing on the news. And what happened a week later, that's when all the I don't even want to say the word because I don't want to get censored or banned. And so that's when all the mandatory stuff came down, right? So on the August 12th. That's when our company came out and said, we are going to abide by this and you have to get it. And so since November 15th, I've been away from that job. And so because I stand up for what I believe in, I believe in my integrity, my dignity, and I believe what is happening in this world is definitely not right at all. And so I will stand up for that, and I will not cower down to that no matter what. So I listen to the news for that. Now, what I hear on the news now is there's these headlines of hope. And the hope is the modeling is showing we're leveling out, that we've hit our peak, and that things should now come down. Why? Well, because everybody has gotten their third one, right? So everybody's gone out, gotten their third one, and then all of a sudden, now we've hit our peak. So people are like, oh, phew, that's good to hear. Because now, we're in the clear. So there's hope, right? These people are getting their first juice, their second, their third. Why? Because they want things to get back to normal. They have this hope. I've talked to people who have had this hope. They're like, oh, do you think it'll ever get back to normal? And I'm like, we're never going back. We are never going back, okay? And I would just crush their dreams of ever going back. And it's just like, look, I'm not being an asshole. I'm being a realist. Why would the government ever put back what we already had? The freedoms that we had, especially in a country like Canada. People would flock to our country, to USA, to America, to the UK, to Australia. People would flock to these countries. Why? Because of our freedoms, our amazing countries that we once had, and now within a matter of years, they've just flipped upside down. So now what they're doing is that they've got this hope. Okay, they're putting this hope out on the headlines. And so your everyday normies, they're just like, oh, wow, we're getting past. I hear we're getting past the whole moronic one. We're getting past it. So that gives them hope. But then what's going to happen is that hope is going to, as the situations come down, the numbers come down, and the hope builds more and more and more, that's when the hope is so much, that's when all of a sudden, bam, the next thing comes in. And unfortunately, the next thing has to be bigger than the previous one. Because if you want people to get the fourth one, well, you got to have something even bigger that was from the third one. That's going to be scary. That I think is scary because really, what have we seen? I think people are at a point where they're looking around and they're saying, okay, I've heard of the big bad boogeyman. I've never seen him. I've only heard of him. I was told that I met him. And all I had to do was just chill in my basement for 2 weeks and order Domino's. Even though I didn't feel that he was close to me, I still had to do it, right? So I think it's hilarious. I knew someone, and they said, oh yeah, my daughter had got it. And so now we're going to quarantine for the next 2 weeks or whatever. I said, oh. And they just take like a family photo, like all laughs and all giggles, just like, hey. I'm like, you have the world's deadliest thing right now. And it's all fun and games for you? Like, what? And I think it's just hilarious, So that's what I hear on the radio is there's hope that is being presented. There's hope from the modeling. When there's hope, that's scary. That is scary. Now, here's another thing. BC, I'm from Western Canada in BC. We just got new rules as of yesterday. Now, there's a what would you say, a double-edged sword kind of win, a double-edged sword kind of success that we've accomplished. And that is gyms are now able to open. And I thought this was cool. And I was just like, that's awesome. Gyms are allowed to be open because as they should be. They should have been open this whole entire time. And what seems like a win, I don't believe is actually a win. I believe it is a strategic maneuver to just shut people up. Because think about it. When gyms were closed here in BC, there were movements, uprisings happening. And these uprisings were happening. I say the word uprisings because that's a reference to the Hunger Games. If you haven't read the Hunger Games, I highly recommend it. It's everything that is happening in the Hunger Games. We are basically living right now. So in the Hunger Games, there's a train coming. Damn it. It's going to be loud. So there's these uprisings happening from these gyms. And they were supposed to be closed, but they decided that they weren't going to stay closed. They were going to, and so basically what happened was gyms had to close. Gyms were not allowed to be open here in British Columbia. Now, a lot of gym owners did not like this. You know, they've been hit hard this whole past 2 years. And these are people's livelihoods. This is how people put food on the table. This is how people put food in their children's mouths, you know, roof over their heads. And this is how they provide. And so they've been hit very hard. So what happened was they were ordered to close. And a lot of them said, you know what? We're not going to close. So they stayed open. And then all of a sudden they were going viral. There were these videos of people just making headlines, these gyms. And so, which is great, which is awesome. Like, don't get me wrong, that's awesome. And that's what I love to see. But then the new rules came out yesterday and they said gyms are allowed to open. So it's a win, but it's also not a win at the same time. And the reason that it's not a win is because, like, think of those in power. Okay, those in power, they're looking at it and they're saying, okay, we're having some uprisings over here that are causing, they're causing a rift in the general population. We cannot have that. Okay, what can we do about that? Well, we can let them open, because when gyms are open, what do you think is going to happen? Are these gyms going to be interviewed? Maybe like, Rebel News might come in and say, hey, you guys stood up for what you believed in and now you're open. How do you feel? They may do that, but then at the same time, they may not. But the thing is that the videos, the virality, if that's even a word, all of this stuff is not going to happen. It's gone. It's done. Why? Because they allowed you to open up. So it's almost better if you would not have, it's almost better if they would have said you have to stay closed and then you kept pushing forward. More gyms kept staying open. And then that would have built this huge, like, headlines here, interviews here, viral videos here. It would have created this huge forest fire. But what they've done is they've now just taken care of it. They've just done. You won't hear about gyms as much as you did within the past few weeks. So that, unfortunately, it is a win, but it is a sick and twisted chess move on their end. And so I give them props for what they've done. I know exactly what they've done. I can see what they've done. And so, but we need more people. We need more people to be able to see what is capable if we come together. I was just listening to this about the other day, that I can't remember where I heard it from. It was from a study on a video somewhere, and I wish I remember where it was. But they were saying that when somebody stands up to defiance, to rather than just go along with things, I really wish I could remember where I heard this from, that is so much more influential than what was it? I can't remember what it was, but it was just talking about when you stand up for what you believe in, other people recognize that, and that fuels them much more than if you were to come in and say, hey, you need to lose weight. You need to get your health in order. You need to start eating healthier. You need to start being a better parent. But if you are being that example, you are a good parent. You are showing them the real the relationship between you and your child. You're showing them that you can work out and be fit all while having two kids. You're showing them that you can eat healthy on a lower budget. You're showing them all these things. It influences people a lot more. And so same with if you stand up to things that are not right. All it takes is that one person to stand up. So I think that is exactly what they know. And they said, we cannot have these gyms making this rift in our plan, because what that's going to do is that's going to get viral videos. People are going to see it. And then all of a sudden, next thing you know, you have restaurants, you have businesses, small businesses. Imagine all the businesses that are being just suffocated throughout this whole entire country. And if they were to see this defiance from gyms. So I think that gyms were supposed to be closed just since like Christmas or something. So it hasn't been that long. But there's been a lot of talk within the past few weeks of these gyms. They've been interviews, viral videos, all kinds of things. So congrats on that. But it would have been more effective if they would have continued us to be closed, and continued gyms to be closed. So hopefully somebody else saw that in a different market who has restrictions against them, and hopefully they stand up for what they believe in, and they can change it for themselves as well. And we need that. So there was that. We got hope on the radio. So back in 2020, we didn't have the juice. We were waiting for the juice gods to, bring us to salvation. 2021, we got this, the juice. We pushed everybody to get the third juice. Everybody's getting their third one now. Now 2022 is, you got to think about what they have left for us. What they have left is simply to get people like you or I, people who are not juiced. But then at the same time, there's people who are walking around with just one. There's people who are walking around with just two, and they're like, I'm not getting two. I know people. My friend's mom's got two. She was all for it, and she thought that we were like crazy conspiracy theorists. And now she's like freaking like leading the pack, like it's just crazy. And she's got both juice boxes, and so that's good. That's good to hear. It's good for people like that who made the change, who made the switch, who were able to open their eyes and see what is happening in this world. And so just don't go off the deep end. Okay. Just don't go off the deep end. It's easy to go off the deep end. You get hooked on that hopium and just fucking, and so it's it's crazy. Hopium's a terrible drug. Okay. It's highly addictive. It's very, very bad for you. So just don't go get it. But what do they have left for us? They have us few stragglers who are just defiant. If we have not gotten it yet, we will not get it. I'm sure there may be like one or two people that might go ahead and get it. But at the end of the day, most of us, I would say, if we haven't gotten it now, after all the fear, all the propaganda, all the hate, all the division, all the fear tactics, all the manipulation, everything. If we haven't gotten it after all that you've thrown at us, all that you've taken away from us, you've taken away my job, you've divided my family, you've divided like healthcare, like everything, okay? Like they're taxing us. Meanwhile, obesity costs Canada $9 billion a year. Like it's just wild. Like obesity is one of the most preventable things in the world, and it costs people enormous amounts of money. Us in Canada, we have to pay for that. I haven't been to a hospital. Last time I was at a hospital was when my dad passed away. Who was 80 years old. I haven't been to the hospital. I haven't been to the doctor. So what have I cost the healthcare system? Meanwhile, you got, 400-pound, diabetes virus and, damn it, I said that word. You got this like sick person over here, just going to the hospital like every like other week because their body's just suffering and trying to keep them alive. And, they're costing the healthcare. You and I have to pay for that here in Canada. And so it's just like, how can you tax us if you can't tax these people? Like there's nothing makes sense. Nothing makes sense at all. Nothing is right whatsoever from any of this. It is extremely wrong. It's extremely disgusting what is happening. And so it's just absolutely wild. So they're coming after us. They're coming after us hot and heavy. In the next 2 to 3 months, we're talking we're in January, February, March. Okay, March. By March, we're going to be moving so fast. Okay, things are going to be happening. I think February is going to be like a little month of hope. Going to get that little hope into people. And then once you got that hope into people, because remember what we did last time? Like, think of Australia. Australia was wide open. For the longest time, Australia was the epitome of this whole thing. They were at beaches, they were at events. Why? Because they shut the whole country down just like crazy, and everybody in Canada was talking about it. They're saying, oh, we should have done something like Australia, and we would have been out of this already. So there was this hope, right? Same thing after we got the juice. What happened? We started traveling. We started, going to events and bars. People were like, oh, it feels so good. Well, guess what? We had this hope, and then all of a sudden, bam, it just came fucking crashing down. So, like, it's not hard to see what is happening in this world. These people are being manipulated. They're trying very hard to manipulate us, but I see right through their bullshit, okay? Like, trust me, the only way, well, I shouldn't even say the only way, you will not. You mark my word, I will never take this thing. Never. I don't ever worry about what it will do to me. I don't ever worry about any side effects from it or any of that. Why? Because I know I'll never take it. Okay? I will go down swinging. I will go down, taking somebody with me if you even dare. Okay? You come after me. Okay? Trust me, like, I'm a nice guy. I'm a calm guy. Okay? But if you push me too far, like, I will fucking destroy you. Okay? So just let me be. I'm a quiet dude. I'm a chill dude. I spend so much time by myself. I just enjoy my space, enjoy my time. I go to islands where I'm like one of only like 2,000 people. I don't speak to a soul for like ever, and I just love it. Okay, just leave me be. Okay, if you want to encroach on my space, trust me, that is you're not gonna have a good time. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Okay, 2022 is gonna be absolutely wild. They're coming after us. They're gonna tax us. They are gonna drive the division way more. The next March is probably when we're gonna see the new shit come in start talking about the fourth one. They're coming after the kids who are under 5 years old. They're coming after them. That's going to happen this year. 3 to 6 months, that is going to be hot and heavy. And by the end of that 6 months, so we're talking June, I think we're going to be in a world of a different place. I think it's going to be absolutely wild coming into summer, because we've had a hell of a winter this time, like physically, environmentally. Like here in Vancouver, it never snows. It doesn't snow. We've had feet of snow. Like, it's just been absolutely nuts. They've been blowing records over in Eastern Canada. We had this summer forest fires that just like shut down highways. We had floods. We've had everything this year. And so So what's going to happen is we're going to come out of winter, come into spring, and we're going to have this hope that, yes, spring is here. We're going to be going into summer. The flowers bloom. It's going to be awesome, and hope. And then all of a sudden, something's going to come, and it's just going to fucking hit us so hard. And they are going to hit us hard. And if you think that you see division now, you haven't seen division yet. If you think you've seen violence and hatred from those psychopaths on that side, not from our side, it's never from our side, you haven't seen, division and hatred at all. Like it's going to be multiplied even more. If you think that you've seen threats, bribes, coercion, you haven't seen it yet, because it's coming. And their only goal is to get us, because they've got everybody else juiced. Okay, 2020, they didn't have the juice. 2021, we got the juice. We got everybody juiced. 2022, we got some people, stragglers coming that are not juiced yet. And the people who aren't juiced, they want to get rid of us because we are a problem. Let's say, for example, everybody, 8 billion people in the world, thought like you or I. We could think for ourselves. For example, like myself, okay? I don't own anything. I paid $5,000 for this car, cash. I've driven it for over a year, about a year and a half now. Love it. I don't own stuff. I can go into a mall and I can buy a brand new MacBook Pro if I wanted to, but I don't need to. There was a point in time not too long ago where I thought that I wanted a smartwatch. I wanted to spend $400 or $500 on a smartwatch. Why? For fitness. And so, but the funny thing is that when I had this thought, I said, is this a real thought that is coming from myself? Or is it something that is coming from externally that is telling me that I need a smartwatch? And because that happens, we're bombarded with marketing all around us. And marketing is a form of brainwashing. And turns out I don't even wear a watch anymore. I wear a rubber band. And so I went from a shitty Timex watch to thinking about a $500 smartwatch to now a 2-cent rubber band. It's just like, how does that even work? But the point is that if people had this idea that I don't need things, I don't need to go to the mall and buy something brand new when I can go to the thrift store and buy something just as good for a fraction of the price. I don't need to be part of this consumerism. If people thought like this, if 8 billion people in the world thought like this, imagine the industries that would just be crushed in this world. If all the women woke up tomorrow and said, you know what? Confidence is beautiful. I don't need that makeup, or I don't need as much makeup. Could you imagine what that would do to the whole entire makeup industry? The makeup industry it's an amazing industry, because, not in a good way, because it basically thrives on telling women that you're not good enough, that your skin isn't good enough, your skin isn't beautiful, and you need this cream. Your skin isn't colorful enough, so you need this powder. I'll tell you right now, you give your skin, you give your body healthy nutrients, you give your body good food, nutrition, all of this stuff. You give your skin vitamin D, you give your skin oxygen, you allow it to breathe. I'll tell you right now, your skin will be beautiful. And so I'm 35 years old. And I get people telling me all the time, they're like, holy shit, like just the other day, I had someone, they're like, you're ageless. And I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, I just do my thing, So am I putting on the creams, and am I putting on the lotions and the potions and all that shit? No, I try to eat healthy. I have my vices and my fixes here and there, but try to eat healthy. I let my skin breathe. my skin will break out if I do eat shitty enough. And so if I devour a bag of chips, I can probably see that tomorrow on my face. But the point is that we, the people who are not buying into this whole narrative, who can think for themselves, we are we're trouble for the system, because the pharmaceutical industry has basically made no money from me in the past couple of years. The food industry has basically made no money from me in the past few years. What I mean by that is like all the processed garbage, the processed box shit, the cereals, like the shit that is not food. That industry has not, like 90% of what's in a grocery store is not food. I'll tell you that right now. So if you look at your shelves and you look at what you're feeding your kids and what you're feeding yourself, 90% of that, is in a grocery store is not real food. It's what you call food-like products. What else? The pharmaceutical industry, the food industry, the entertainment industry, like all these things, like all these industries that are out there, they have made very little money from me, you could say. And so if 8 billion people in the world were to wake up tomorrow and think that way, not saying that the way I think is the way everybody should think, but I'm just saying that imagine what it would do for the industries. Imagine what it would do for the hospitals and all these things. And so I spent some time in Bali, Indonesia, and I remember one of my friends, he told me the story about when they went to the hospital, and the hospital was calling about somebody's medical insurance. And he said, hey, look. If he doesn't, it was a motorbike, and it was a motorbike accident, I think, and there had to be some certain things that were like playing along, or else the travel insurance wouldn't cover the hospital bill. So the travel insurance was asking some questions of the hospital. Were they wearing a helmet? Did they have a license? All this kind of stuff. And so then my friend said, hey, look, if you tell them the truth, what's going to happen is he's not going to be able to pay the bill. He's going to have to go back to Australia, and then you are going to miss out on money. But if you say that he got all this, the insurance is going to pay for it, and you are going to get that money for your hospital, for your country. So they were like, okay, right? So it's money talks each and every time. And so anyways, guys, that's what I want to leave you with. There's a lot of crazy things that are going to be happening in the next 3 to 6 months, 2 to 3 months, and then look out for the next 3 to 6 months. It's going to be absolutely wild. But they are coming after us. If you are not juiced and you don't plan to get, maybe you are juiced and you don't plan to get your third one, your fourth one, and so on, they're coming after us. I actually even heard, this is hilarious, I actually laughed about this morning. So there's people having heart attacks while shoveling their driveways, and they said on the news, what you're doing is you're engaging in physical activity without warming up. You have to remember that shoveling the driveway is physical activity, so you should always take the time to warm up, especially when it's cold. So when it's cold, all your blood vessels and all that stuff are constricted, and then you start shoveling snow, you're basically pumping all this blood, and then all of a sudden that can cause a heart attack. And so I kind of laughed because heart attacks and a certain juice box, especially happening in kids and all this stuff. And so it's just been absolutely hilarious. So I thought that was quite funny to actually, that they were actually talking about people having heart attacks while shoveling their driveway, But anyways, guys, Unplugged Freedom. You can find me on Instagram, YouTube. You can find me on Telegram. That's where I post a lot of stuff that I will probably get banned on Instagram. This is my third account now. Unpluggedfreedom.com. I'm going to be changing that around for some things, but you can connect with me there. And yeah, definitely. So anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed this. 2022 is going to be a fucking rocker of a year. They are coming after us hot and heavy. come at me, bro. Come at me. All right, fight me. Watch what I do. Okay, watch what I do.